fidgeting. And taking note to work into those spaces that call out for your attention throughout our practice here today. Shifting the awareness from Annamaya Kosha, the body, to Pranamaya Kosha, the energetic body. Noticing on a scale of 1 to 10 where your energy is at. 1 being exhausted, fatigued, ready for bed. 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. Shift the attention to the breath. No need to change it, just observe. Inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. We'll shift the attention up to Manomaya Kosha, the mind. Allowing thoughts and feelings to arise freely and observing them from a distance. No need to engage, like an image being projected onto a screen. The storyline goes on without our direct participation. Notice what are the quality of the thoughts today. Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they a long, drawn out story, an ongoing drama? Or are they fragments of thoughts flickering through, barely forming a sentence? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. We'll bring the attention back down to the breath. This time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And exhale, let something more go. Inhaling, the belly expands as well as the ribs, like a balloon inflating out towards the edges till you can't sip in any more air. And every exhale, let something more go, zipping in the ribs, using the muscles to pull belly button in towards spine. Complete exhalation, creating that vacuum, that want to take the next sip of air in. Still, the crown of the head is tall, the shoulders are relaxed. We'll begin our equal parts breathing practice, our pranayama. So the next inhale, we bring a count to the breath. So silently in your head, counting 5, 6, 7, so on and so forth until you get to the very tip top of your breath, where there's no space left. And then on your exhale, matching that count to your number. So if you're inhaling for a count of 6, you're exhaling for a count of 6. Matching the length of the inhale to the length of the exhale. And if the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath, back to counting. Slow, deep breaths. When the mind wanders, attempt to add a number to your count. So if you started at 6, try to get to 7. And on your next exhale, no rush to get there. Just release any counting or any effort from the breath. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, no space between the fingers, and the thumbs are pressed into the sternum. And consider here setting an intention or a dedication for this practice. It might be the sankalpa, the heart's desire you've been working with all year, or something new might inspire you to have shown up to your mat today. The invitation is just to set that intention in the positive and the present. So affirmation style, if you're here to cultivate patience in your life, it would sound like, I am patient. If you're trying to be more mindful, you might sound like, I flow through life with ease and grace. We'll seal that intention with the sound of Om. First, a cleansing breath. You're invited to chant with me, of course. Your hands to release to your lap, chin drops towards chest. And then an inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest, left ear towards left shoulder. Good morning, motley cruelty. Welcome in, welcome in. And anybody else speaking during or typing during meditation, I'll always get to you and your questions just after the meditation ends. So, hey there, Three-Eyed Tiger. This may be a semi-personal question, but I was curious why you've chosen against affiliate, an assumption on my part. You seem to have the numbers. I look pretty regularly recently. Well, thanks for lurking. Next time the head rolls through center, let's just bring it up to neutral and start rolling the shoulders forward. So yeah, I qualified for affiliate maybe at the end of January, maybe a little earlier than that. But affiliate status on Twitch is basically like a contract, and I'm not really like in the market for a contract with Amazon. Not to mention, it would encourage people to become my subscribers here on Twitch, which financially is not in my best interest. People subscribe on Twitch for $5 a month, and I only see $2.50. Like Twitch/Amazon keeps half my profits. Yes, they're providing like a place and like great, but I think an even exchange is the people that I've brought onto this platform, not half of my money, versus right now people Venmo me directly $5 a class. So it's just not financially worth it for me, and then we're gonna rotate the shoulders back. On top of that, I record these classes and post them on a private server. So like for my community, so if somebody wants it, I can show it to them. And that's against Twitch affiliate rules to reuse any of the videos. So just like legally, it's not in my best interest to be in a partnership or be an affiliate of Amazon. Yeah, that's why. It's nothing spiritual or moral, it's totally financial, but this does actually literally help me pay my bills. And let's be honest, keep my sanity. So we're rolling our shoulders back, keeping the chest open. We're going to come to stillness here. And inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Such a thoughtful answer. Thanks for that. I legitimately hadn't considered that viewpoint. Yeah, you're welcome, totally. Exhale, bend over to the right. Well, because in the beginning, alright, so we're just going to sweep side to side, inhaling through center and exhaling to bend to the side. I was like, okay, one of my goals is to reach affiliate status. It's going to be so cool. I can have like a tiger emoji or like emote, and all of this stuff. And then I like looked into it. My husband's a streamer, and he's an affiliate and all of that. And he just kind of like laid out the positive pros and cons. And I was just like, oh, yeah, it would be cool to have an emote, but I have an entire Instagram of like tigers. So I think it makes more sense for me to just stay lonely, unaffiliated class. And the next time we're up through center, we'll take a twist to the right. Left hand lands on right knee, right hand lands on the ground. Behind you, chest open to the side wall. And back up through center. I saw him go live on your account that one time. Yeah, so I did a lot of traveling in the beginning of February. So I was like borrowing people's computers, including his, to stream this class. And I forgot to change the stream key on OBS. In other words, I was still signed in on his computer under my account, so he went live to play Control video game. And a couple of my people texted me and were like, why are you teaching yoga at 5 o'clock at night? And I'm like, I'm not. But yeah, that's him. And last time over here to the left. Back up through center, elbows bend and hands come to ear height. So now we're waving out the hands. We're beginning to warm up the wrists. I love Control. I was like, okay, I'm into it. Yeah. Except I think everyone got the notification, Samla is live teaching yoga, and they show up and it's like somebody like on a video game with like telekinetic powers, like throwing a filing cabinet. I'm like, probably not what people showed up for. Palms face down, fingers wiggle side to side. I listen to you mostly while I'm doing other things for the good vibes. Oh, thank you. Yeah, same. That's me half the time. Well, you guys are always welcome. You're always welcome to lurk and to jump in when certain parts feel like they'd be beneficial to you. Palms flip towards the sky, like the backs of your fingers are going to touch your forearms. Fingers spread wide and we rotate. But every other day I get into it. My body feels so much better now. That's awesome. I think that's probably a good way of doing it. Like if, well, I know that you already have your own practice, Bodhi, so this is more of a general statement than specific to any individual. But if it's like you're not in a physical practice at all, just jumping into every single day can be a lot. But if you show up every day and every other day you start practicing, that's going to be easier on your body to kind of, not assimilate, I don't want to use that word, but kind of like get used to the movement and the wording and what the poses are and all of that. So let's shake off water, just nice and gentle like. 3, 2, 1. So, and yeah, so if there's ever something specific that you guys want, or when we do the body scan, if you're like, my neck, my knee, or something, just type it into the chat and I'll make sure to include that into our practice. Yeah, the primary series doesn't really cover the neck and wrist conditioning though, so it's nice. Yeah, well, that's because the next thing we're going to do is not technically yoga. So this is stuff that I got from some physical, what is it? Physical therapy and functional movement and pole dancing. So we're gonna work on that neck resiliency now, actually. I'm just turning to the side so that you guys can see, but you guys can stay facing forward. That makes more sense. Sitting up nice and tall, just relax the shoulders. Chin tucks in towards chest, and we're leading with the nose. I'm going to reach all the way down, all the way forward, all the way up, back, and then chin tucks back in towards chest. So I'm creating this circle with the nose and smoothing this movement out, going to the very edges of my range of motion. Still, I'm breathing fully. Keeping the movement slow and smooth. We'll change directions. So as the head tilts up, now it's the chin that's leading forward, 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 down, and back in. So we're doing this, we're opening up new areas in the cervical spine and the neck. Opening up new mobility, but also building up a little bit of strength in these neck muscles. Back to center. Guys, this is what I actually look like. Alright. Another man stretches someone else's stretcher. Alright. So then we'll move on to the next neck thing. Fingers come to the tops of the jaw, so it's just underneath your ear. Seated up tall. We're gonna bring the fingers just like an inch away as I go a foot away. If your neck is too stiff to do this movement, it happens all the time. Yeah, it does happen all the time. Don't get hung up on it having to look like what I'm doing. Like, it's gonna look different in your body. You just want to be mindful of how it feels in your body and just adjust accordingly. All right, so we have our fingers like an inch away. We're just gonna slide the head side to side. So mindful here, two things that I often see that happen are people like lift their shoulders to bring their like fingers in. Just let your shoulders are not doing anything in this movement. Head is just sliding side to side. And then otherwise, I see people like turning their head, but we're not turning the head. It's like you're trying to bring your ear to your finger. Thanks, Bodhi, for being my mod. Didn't even manage to read that before you deleted it, so I trust you, girl. Alright. So here we are, sliding side to side, and we're breathing the whole time. So sometimes when we're trying to do something difficult, it can be a little frustrating, and we hold our breath when we're frustrated. Some people, not to project, most people hold their breath when they're frustrated. So you just want to be mindful that you're still breathing fully and slow it down. If you're having difficulty with it, slow it down. And you can bring your fingers even closer, just like a centimeter away. 3, 2, 1. All right, just shake it out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. So yeah, that all helps alleviate a bunch of pain and tension in the neck that you might experience. I experience a lot of that because I spend all day looking down, painting, and let's be real, doom scrolling, so your head's really heavy. It's a lot on your cervical spine. Let's bring the legs out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out your ankles. Roll them out the other direction. We'll bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide like mat's distance apart, and just drop the knees side to side. I'm just warming up the hips here. And the next time the knees fall over to the right, hands come to frame that front knee. We'll bring it back to our tabletop pose. Wrists below shoulders, knees below hips. And then inhale, belly drops, hips and chest rise for the inhale, cow pose. Exhale, rounding in the spine, chin tucks towards chest, cat pose. Inhales, press the hands down and back towards the knees pressing down and forward towards the hands like you're trying to scrunch the mat together for grit to get a deeper back bend. And exhale, rounding in the spine, pressing the hands down and forward, the knees down and back, like you're trying to spread the mat apart for a deeper forward bend. Follow your breath. In for cow. Out for cat. Letting the speed of your body be informed by the length of your breath. Next time you exhale, let it be your last one, returning back to a neutral spine. We'll turn the hands to face back. So turning your right hand out to the right and all the way back till fingers face the knees. Turning the left hand all the way to the left until fingers, tips are facing knees. Fingers are spread wide and the wrists, or rather the palms, never leave the ground. Tuck the toes under and just begin to press back. It can just be a little. It might just be like a degree. You're being really mindful of the wrists here, just going back as far as you can before the palms lift. Once the palms lift, you've gone too far. So this should be intense, but not enough to take your breath away. If it's taking your breath away, or like making you like black out from pain, then you just want to go less than that. So sometimes our bodies can go further than what's good for them. So we don't want to do any of that. We're just undoing a bunch of typing and like steer wheel gripping. It's like undoing a bunch of hand and wrist tension. A lot of we do with our hands are super repetitive. It can end up becoming carpal tunnel, other kinds of hand issues. So here we're just kind of building some resiliency against that. And the next time you lean back, we'll hold it back, but the breathing continues. Bringing the shoulders back up over the wrists. Unrotate the hands back to normal. Sit back on the heels, the toes tucked under. You can just give your wrists a little bit of a massage here. All right. So we got one more wrist strengthening exercise for you, and then we'll move on. Just feeling like a nice grounded class today. Fingers are spread wide, wrists just below the shoulders, and then so these are called, I don't know if these are officially called, but they're basically wrist push-ups. So what we're gonna do is lift the palms off the ground up until the knuckle. So I'm lowering slowly. I'm not using my shoulders at all. Shoulders are totally relaxed. I'm just using my hand strength to lift up and slowly lower down. My fingers never leave the floor. That makes sense? And then slowly lowering down. Lift. I'm lifting both at the same time. So the other practices and like all this wrist resiliency work that we do are all about opening up some like flexibility, and this is all about building strength. We just got two more. Not using momentum, just using hand strength. And last one, because I lost count. Whew. Okay, good work. Right arm sweeps up to the sky. Let's give 2 back strokes. And the next time the arm's up, we'll weave it through for thread the needle pose. Releasing the side of the right arm, the side of the head onto the ground. We'll stack left shoulder up over right shoulder or towards it, trying to open the chest towards the long side end of the mat. By using this top hand as leverage to get that twist in the spine. Bottom arm, like a kickstand, is pressing harder or stronger, stronger or softer into the ground to find the ideal or like the sweetest spot stretch on your right shoulder. And then maybe to play with balance, the left leg extends straight. Might even point the toes. And then begin to levitate that leg up. Nice and slow. Momentum's not your friend here. I mean, the worst that'll happen is you roll onto your butt. It's not a big deal. But trying to avoid that splay out. We're lifting and reaching through the floating leg. Still breathing into the right shoulder blade, side of the neck. We'll slowly float the foot back down. Toes touch down. Knee touches down. And sweep the right arm up towards the sky. Exhaling, tabletop pose. I'm just going to turn so that I can keep facing you. Left arm sweeps open towards the sky. We've got 2 back strokes here. Next time you're up towards the sky, exhale, weave the arm through for thread the needle pose. Landing on your left shoulder inside the head. So this is all touching down to the ground. Right hand's pressing into the earth to help open the chest towards the long end side of the mat. Just breathing here in this spinal twist. Pressing the bottom arm stronger or softer into the ground to find the nicest stretch on that left scapula, that left shoulder blade. Right leg might extend straight, toes still touching down, just to calibrate a bit, and then the toes point. And slowly float the foot up. Leg extending long. Really reaching through the toes. And then exhale, the foot touches down. Knee touches down. Right hand presses into the ground as left arm sweeps open to the sky. And release the hand down to the mat. Tabletop pose. Shift back a little. Back. Then right foot steps up between the hands. Left foot steps up to meet it as well. Big toes, or rather, let's bring the feet out wide towards the edges of the mat. Bending and extending one knee and then the other. Both knees. And let the head hang heavy. Nodding the head yes. Shaking the head no. You can grab opposite elbows to create a frame for the head. Give yourself a rock side to side. Knees can be a little or a lot bent. Ragdoll. So a little free movement here in this first major forward fold.
Release the hands down to the mat, heel toe the feet in towards one another. Inhale to a halfway lift, hands on shins. Big toes come to touch, just a little space between the heels for the ankles not to knock together. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale brings you all the way up to stand, rolling up one vertebra at a time. Heavy head comes up last. Better? Better. All right. Arms sweep up when you get there, and exhale, hands to heart center. Then the right knee bends and floats up in towards the belly. Standing one-legged tadasana. Hinge on the left hip, so like a seesaw, as the head comes forward, the right leg sweeps back. Warrior 3. Bend in the left knee to float the right foot down, landing in a high lunge. Nice, and if it took you more than one step to get there, no worries. And we'll walk the back foot in, maybe a foot, to land the heel down onto the ground. Still left knee is over left ankle, and I'm just walking it a bit closer to the edge of the mat so my feet are nice and wide. What do I mean by that? Instead of being on a balance beam, more like on railroad tracks, like the two rails on a railroad track. Yeah. Back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Chest can even tilt back a bit, looking up. And an exhale, we roll forward. Belly, chest, head, arms sweep back like you're just throwing back snow. And then rolling back up, one vertebra at a time, back up to Warrior 1. Virabhadrasana 1 with a little tilt back, with a little look up, a little baby back bend. Exhale, waves you forward, strong in the legs. And inhale rolls you up like a wave. Following your own breath's pace, speed of your body informed by the length of your breath. And the next time you reach up overhead in Warrior 1, we'll stay there, fingers interlaced behind the head. It's like you're holding your own hand, thumbs release down the sides of the neck, and the head presses into the hands, hands press into the head, elbows pull back, giving the shoulders a stretch. One more deep breath here. And release the head to center, release the hands, extend the left leg straight. Hands come down onto the hips. Deep breath in, get tall. And exhale, we hinge forward. The left hip specifically is being pulled back as you come down as far as you can with the flat back. When you get to the point where if you went any further, you know your back would round. Take another breath in here, strong in the legs. And exhale, rounding over that extended front leg. Hands can come down onto the ground. Stack the books, the block. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. So here, your left hip wants to reach forward, your right hip wants to tilt back, but instead we're pulling the left hip back, pressing the right hip forward, trying to keep the hips squared to the short end of the mat to give the back of the front leg a deep stretch. Maybe your knee's a little bent, that's okay. You're working towards straight, but it's okay if it doesn't do that. Don't press on the knee or anything to rush to get anywhere. There's really nowhere to go. Just be where you are right now. And if you'd like a deeper stretch, you can even lift the front heel. Lift the front toes pressing onto the heel. And that's going to give you a different stretch, more into the calf and whatnot. So here you go. 2 deep breaths here. Gently release the foot back onto the mat if it wasn't there already. Bend in the front knee. Hands are on either side, just a little bit forward, and the right leg sweeps up towards the sky, really towards the wall behind you. It's like a halfway lift balance, or it's called standing split. Then both knees bend, right foot steps down next to left foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale to heart center. Left knee bends and comes in towards the belly. Standing to one-legged tadasana rather. So one-legged mountain pose. We're going to hinge on the right hip. As the head comes forward, the left leg reaches back like a seesaw. This foot's reaching back, crown of the head reaching forward, Virabhadrasana 3, warrior 3. Bending in the right knee to float the left foot down with control, landing in a high lunge. Step the left foot forward, maybe 6 inches, landing the heel down, and the foot's at a 45-degree angle. Then I'm going to heel toe my right foot towards the edge of the mat, towards the long edge of the mat, so that my feet are in a nice wide stance. This is warrior 1, so you should feel really stable here. Right hip pulling back, left hip pressing forward. My legs are strong, arms sweep up overhead with a deep breath in. And exhale, wave forward, belly, chest, head, arms sweep back and up. Rolling back up to stand. Imagining your spine like a wave. Up to a little baby back bend, maybe just tilting the chest and head up and waving forward. So imagine each vertebra of your spine moving freely and smoothly. Beginning to connect this movement with the breath. So if you feel like your breath is too short to connect with the movement, of course we're working on lengthening the breath, but also you can just attach a full breath to each motion. So maybe on the sweep down, it's a full inhale and exhale instead of just the exhale. Just adjusting the practice to work for where you're at right now in this moment. And the next thing, we're back, upright to warrior 1. We'll stay there. Fingers interlaced, and then change the interlace of the hands. So if you're, look at your hands right now interlaced, if your right finger is on top, bring the left index finger on top instead. Hands come to the back of the head, thumbs release down the side of the neck. And as we tilt the chest up, press the head into the hands press into the head, and the elbows press open to the sides. You should feel a deep stretch in the shoulders here, full breathing. The last deep breath. Release the head to neutral, release the arms. Hands come onto the hips, extend the right leg straight. Check in that the hips are square to the short end of the mat. Deep breath in, get tall. When I say that, it's like imagine literally you're being pulled up towards the sky with a string attached to the crown of your head. And exhale, hinge from the hips. Lowering with a flat back, like a door frame closing, like a door closing on hinges. Super flat back. When you get to the point where if you went any further round, might be up here, might be wherever it is, just take another breath in here, strong in the legs. And exhale, releasing into that fold over the front leg. The hands can come down onto the ground or onto blocks. And then notice here, it's going to be the left hip that wants to pull back, right hip that wants to pull forward. But instead we're counteracting that, pulling the hips towards center, pulling the right hip back, pressing the left hip forward. You can let the head be heavy. That's going to bring more weight and more stretch into the hamstrings, the back of the leg, and the lower back. But if that brings any pain or like electrical, like zippy feelings, we want to avoid that, and then just keep it a nose towards toes type movement so that the weight of your head isn't being isn't too much. So think of it like a hot air balloon when they have those like bags of sand on the side, and sometimes they'll like add or release some of them. That's kind of like your head. It's always an option to add the weight or to let it go. Yeah. And then of course option here to lift the toes. One side might be different than the other too. Like maybe on this side it does feel good to lift the toes and the other didn't. So you're just kind of exploring what your body wants here. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. And then releasing the foot back down to the ground, bend deep into the right leg, into the right knee. Left leg floats up for a standing split. The legs reaching towards the back wall, maybe even towards the sky, and then both knees bend deep, deep, deep until the left foot touches down to meet right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. So let's begin to shake out that effort. You shake out the legs. Shake out the hands. We're going to shake to the whole body. Bring your bounce to it. So you can just lift the heels and let them drop down with soft knees to create this like reverberating jiggle. Or you can give full jumps. Take up some space if you've got it. Just see what you're feeling like right now, today. And you can start allowing exhales to go through the mouth as well. They don't have to just be through the nose anymore. Audible sighs, encouraged and welcome. So we're just releasing any tension that may be built up from that last little sequence. It may have been a little challenging with the balancing and the strength in the legs. So now we're just letting all that go, any frustration that you felt in class, maybe earlier in your day, maybe earlier in your week. Just kind of shaking it off. When we're children and we're afraid, we tremble. It's a way for our bodies to process that fear and anxiety. And as we grow, we learn to stop doing that so as not to seem weak and vulnerable. So maybe we had to move into a role where we were comforting the trembling child. in the room, right? So this is just kind of an invitation. This little segment of class is an invitation to just let yourself kind of tremble and shake. Shake it off. Sometimes you don't even need to have a specific thing in mind. Some of these traumas and fears just take up residence in our body. In yoga, it's called samskara. And they're just like little knots, like little points of stuck energy within our bodies. They don't need to have a specific memory unlocked to release. Sometimes they just need a specific movement. So if you feel like stopping, just double time. It's got a little more shaking to go. It's like a protein bottle, like one of those protein shake shakers with the metal on the inside. We're trying to get all like the dusty powder off the edges and like integrate it back into the system. That's what we're kind of doing here. Just internally scraping off the edges and powdery, dusty stuff that's not serving us. For 3, 2, 1. All right, so next is our breath of joy. So it's another pranayama, another breathing practice, 4 parts. 3 consecutive breaths of air in through the nose, no exhale in between. So, and a big ha through the mouth. Exhale out. The arms look like this. So it's a sip of air in, arms sweep up. Sip of air in, arms sweep out. Sip of air in, arms sweep up. And ha, arms sweep back. Just like we did in Warrior 1, the arms sweep back. Lower back just stays long this entire time. Let's not arch it on the inhales. I know it's a little tempting, but let's just avoid that. So, feet nice and wide, knees soft. In, in, in. Ha! And just yell as loud as you can. In, in, in. Ha! In, in, in. Ha! 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 3 left. If you haven't joined in yet, now's your chance. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count. Ha! Feet come nice and wide, hand comes onto the heart, hand comes onto the belly, eyes close. Let's just take a moment here to arrive. Observe what was created. Perhaps an increase in body temperature, in heart rate, but what else? Taking your body like a snow globe, giving it a righteous shake, and now we observe to see where that glitter dust settles. What is revealed? What is revealed when we let ourselves take up space physically and audibly, when we let ourselves yell?
or what resistance shows up to stop us from fully participating. Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. Gently blink the eyes open. You can go take a sip of water, maybe towel off any sweat you may have built up. If you're already on the ground, you just stay there. I'll meet you there. If not, you can come down with me. Walking to the end of the mat. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend in the knees deep, deep, so deep that you come to seated. You can walk your hands back so you don't land on your tailbone. All right. Oh, the time. Well, we'll bring our feet together, knees splay apart, just like butterfly pose. It's called tadasana, bound angle. Seated up nice and tall. If you're like, I can't sit up nice and tall, just bring your feet out a little bit further out. That's going to give you more space. Feel you got space, you can bring the feet in closer. Give a little foot massage. We got a lot of foot love in yesterday, but went out a little bit more today. So I just kind of like massage the bottoms of my feet, almost like I'm opening them like a book. And then grabbing onto the feet or the ankles, I sit up nice and tall. Deep breath in. And exhale, belly, chest, head comes forward, like I'm trying to get it to touch the ground in front of the feet. Then with the hands gripped onto the ankles, I can use that as a fulcrum to bend my elbows into my knees. So am I pressing my knees down, forcing them to the ground? No, but I'm just giving them a little stretch so that they're being pressed towards the ground. They don't reach, these pants are just fluffy. And that's okay. My goal is to just feel a nice opening on my inner hips and thighs. It's not so that my knees can touch the ground, which doesn't help my knees or help the ground at all. And if you're, if your knees do touch the ground, that's great. If you're not feeling much of a stretch because of that, then you can bring your heels in even closer to your groin. So the closer your heels are to your body, that's going to change the stretch. And then even if you can touch your heels to your hips and have the knees down, then what you can do is start bringing the legs further out. So you're just looking like an accordion, looking for the place where you actually feel a bit of resistance. So we're actually looking for resistance in this posture, in many postures actually, so that we can breathe into that discomfort, breathe into that area of the body. You might have some likely candidates. For me, it was my jaw. I was always clenching my jaw, grinding my teeth, which is terrible because I don't have dental insurance. So I'm really just setting myself up for failure. For you, it might be your shoulders. You might find them up by your ears often. You just let that relax, right? So let it go, because right now your jaw and your shoulders have nothing to do with tadasana unless you're making it that. And that's really just a distraction from what's actually purposefully intended for this pose, which is a hip stretch. You just got a couple breaths here. You can let the eyes close. And press it back up to seated. Bring the knees in together. And now here, mindful, we're just going to see how your knees feel here.
feel here, bring the right knee forward and the ankle back. So now I'm not sitting on my foot, it's on the outside. My foot's on the outside of my butt. And then we do the same on the other side. So my butt is sitting in between my heels, and the tops of my feet are being stretched really deep. Ankle stretch here. Seated up tall. This might be where your work is. If your knees are like red like alarms, like your knees are really upset here, then just don't do this. You can sit up on a block, or you can come to sit on the heels in hero's pose. So it's going to be safer for your knees. If you're here and you're like, yep, okay, but I don't feel much, and you know, there's more. Of course there's more. There's always more. We'll walk the hands back. And from hands walk back. Emmanuel 1225. Hello, hello, welcome in. You might lower one elbow to the other. You might start feeling a stretch on your quads. Once again, if you're feeling pain in your knees, you just want to back off, go to the step before and breathe there. You won't be here too long. From elbows, you might relax down onto shoulders. And then from shoulders, you can even reach up overhead and grab opposite elbows, just like in ragdoll when we create that frame for the head. Now we're doing it here, just in a different position. So you might feel the stretch on your front hip flexors. The lower back, yeah, is like a bit arched just to make that connection. And we're just breathing into this opposite stretch in the hips. And from shoulders, we'll press up onto elbows. Go one at a time. From elbows, we press up onto hands. How has your day been? So far, so good. Just here. I basically wake up and roll my yoga mat out with you guys. So, and then we'll walk forward into tabletop. Drop the hips to one side. Bring the legs out in front. You got here just in time for the end of class. You can drop the knees side to side a little bit or give the legs a little shake out. So we're just on like the last couple poses before Savasana, our final relaxation meditation. How's your day been? All right. Then we'll hug the knees in and give it a roll back, nice and gentle, a little rock side to side. Oh, nice. It's still morning for you? Yeah, it's like 9:40. Yeah, 9:40 right now, 9:42. West Coast, Best Coast. Oof. Good, I'm glad. All right, so the knees hugged in. We'll let the thighs come up parallel to the ground. Sorry, not parallel to the ground, perpendicular to the ground. And we'll guide the knees over to the right, stacking left hip over right hip. And the left arm opens up like the letter T. And look over this extended left arm, and the whole body's relaxed. So the right hand on top of the left knee is just there to help gravity. It's not pulling or anything like that. And we're just letting the body be super relaxed here. Gravity's doing the work. Left shoulder pressing down towards the ground. Hi, Ghost Floof. West Coast is not Best Coast. I know, I just said it. I'm like looking forward to going back to the East Coast one day. But it's just like a thing here. You just say that. Everybody says that and then they move to Hawaii. Or they like move somewhere else. It's kind of funny. The culture here is so bizarre, but I kind of love it. I fit right in, I think. But it's strange to fit in. When you're used to being like the weirdo, and then like you get here and you're like, oh, everybody's into crystals and yoga? Okay. We'll bring the knees back up through center, head back up through center, gently release the knees over to the left, stacking right hip over left hip. Left hand lands on top of right knee. Right arm opens up like the letter T, not up by the head, not down by the hips, but straight at 180 degrees. Right shoulder's pressing down towards the ground. The gaze can be over that right fingertip to create a complete spinal twist. Supta Matsyendrasana. We'll bring the head back up through center, bring the knees back up through center, and then just notice, is there any last movement or wiggle or twist or stretch that your body's asking for before we prepare for Savasana, final relaxation pose? So that might be, well, really all class we tell our body what to do. And now we just ask back, is there anything left? Is there anything we can do back for it? So there's a little intuitive movement. Like I said, it doesn't have to have a fancy name or anything like that. Ooh, fall behind. Mine's good. Thanks for asking. Best good. I've never done yoga before, but it looks a little hard to do. Oh no, don't, what's it called? Please don't be intimidated. This whole like end part is literally just like intuitive movement. It's not even like yoga poses or anything. Better be, yeah, it's a little intimidating, right? It takes years to look. Yeah, I've been practicing for 17 years, so there's like literally no need to compare or anything to yourself to me or like anything that you see online, but there's a lot of modifications you can do where you get the benefits but you don't hurt yourself. Yes, thank you, Bodhi, exactly. Honestly, it's not hard to do, but yeah, to do it as long as Tiger does it takes real stamina, but I'm not flexible at all either. Yeah, so we build up endurance and stamina. That's something I do bring up. It's like, okay, maybe you can only hold a pose for a breath, or maybe you can't even hold the pose for the breath. You're just working towards even coming into stillness. There's still value in entering the pose. So every pose has 4 parts: entering, sustaining, exiting, and integrating. All those parts are going to be really important to you. So in the beginning, you're just trying to enter the pose. You're just trying to even get into the pose. Forget holding it for 20 breaths. You're just trying to get into the pose in general. So that's everybody's journey, is just working on entering the postures. And that's a lot of the people in this community, so don't feel stressed out about having to look any type of way. And the flexibility thing is not a prerequisite for yoga, because you actually build flexibility in yoga. You come to yoga for building flexibility, not the other way around. Is a yoga mat required? Nope, you can totally use, if you have a carpet, floors you're good, a towel or a blanket. Yes, something soft correcting. Bodhi, I love you. I feel like you really listen when I speak. Alright, so as we're setting up for Savasana here, final relaxation pose, let me just get you guys into the posture. The legs come down the length of the mat. Feet are like a foot apart, legs so relaxed that the feet naturally splay open to the side. Shoulders tuck under to support the chest, and the arms land, hands at least 6 inches from the body, palms face up towards the sky, a symbol, a mudra of receptivity, allowing yourself to receive the full benefits of all your effort here today. Head is neutral, gaze up towards the sky, or the eyes being closed if that's comfortable. If laying like this is uncomfortable for you, your lower back feels pain, lying flat on the ground with no pillow behind your head, then bend in the knees nice and deep to the edges of the mat. Let the knees fall together in broken bridge, and press your feet into the ground to lift the hips, rounding in the lower back to press the lumbar spine, the lower back into the ground, elongating the spine, and then let the whole body relax. So gravity should hold this broken bridge together. and then alleviate the pain you're feeling in your lower back. Traditionally, it's with the legs down the length of the mat. But either version is gonna do you just fine. I'm just coming up to seated so that I can more easily speak this meditation to you and play some singing bowls for you. It's just something to protect your knees. Yes, so the whole idea is really just protecting your knees. So even if you didn't have a towel the size of a yoga mat, just for underneath the knees, you could fold it up and use it there. Thanks, Bodhi, I love you. I see your shoes are off. Is that like a big thing in yoga? Sometimes I feel like it's easier for poses to have bare feet. Otherwise, you're doing a lot of extra work, not sliding around. Yeah, so we do lots of footwork actually. So yeah, definitely barefoot. It's like this is like a conversation I have like with lots of like the high schoolers that I used to work with back on the East Coast. They didn't want to take their socks off, but you're really like with socks, you're just gonna be sliding all over the place, like completely unnecessarily. You're gonna get sweaty, all sorts of stuff. So you're better off just barefoot. If you're trying to practice in shoes, I'm not saying that it's not yoga if you have shoes on, but like running shoes or like tennis shoes or anything like that. But it's gonna constrict your movement, your flexibility, and your balance. You're really not giving your body the chance that yoga really is to upgrade those stabilizing muscles within all the metatarsals and tendons and ligaments in the feet that we really get to address and stretch out. Yeah. Okay, so here we are in Savasana, final relaxation pose. As I said, I'm seating up just so that I can speak to you clearly, but laying down is traditionally where you're at. It's our attempt, or it's our time to integrate the practice and everything that we've been working on. Almost like sleeping at the end of the night is a way to integrate the day. Your mind has a chance to process all of the thoughts and all of the effort and all of the learning and let it more permanently rest into long-term memory than short-term memory. Just like death at the end of life is a way to integrate a lifetime and really integrate and press that lifetime into the soul. So Savasana is a way to integrate our yoga practice. All right, so that got dark, but we're gonna start this practice just as we did our grounding seated meditation with 3 cleansing breaths. Shoulders stay relaxed. However, this time it's a deep breath in through the nose and an audible sigh out through the mouth. You can allow the breath to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. Inviting your exhalations to become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, a symbol of chitta vritti, monkey mind. We're just inviting that monkey to take a seat, take a time out for this one. As all the muscles in the lips and cheeks relax. Nose and nostrils release. Gently allowing air to pass through,
like waves lapping up to shore. Eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens as all the muscles in the forehead relax. The muscles surrounding the ears with all their wrinkles and folds, all the way deep into the ear canals. Rest. Muscles the back of the head, crown of the head, hairline, all release. Throat and neck, release. Shoulders and shoulder blades melt away. Upper arms and elbows relax. Forearms and wrists release. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, fingernail beds, whole hands alive with vibration, whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below you. Chest gently rises and falls, perhaps imperceptibly. Belly naturally rises and falls with the breath. Pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Thighs and knees melt away. Lower legs and ankles relax. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet, and all of the toes relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Notice if in your mind, if even for a moment, And there was silence in that inner dialogue. Notice if in your breath there's ease. Notice if in your body the places of tension have found space. The places of restlessness have found peace. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice always makes practice. Nothing more and nothing less. Invite your inhalations to deepen and become longer than your exhalations. With every inhale, the attention comes to the surface front side of the body as fingers begin to wiggle and toes begin to curl. And head gently rocks side to side. Arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position. You can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Fully relaxed, fully supported by the ground below you. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or take this opportunity to set one now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground to come up to a seated position, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a series of neck and wrist resiliency practices, as well as some leg strengthening and flexibility increasing postures. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to everyone that held this space. Namaste. Thank you to everyone who joined me today. Thank you, Raiders, for joining in. Thank you, Isa, if you're still here. I appreciate you all. I hope that you found something of value or maybe a little bit of peace in that. I think you guys came in right during the singing bowls. I'm just scrolling up on chat here to see what I missed. Swiss R, hello, my friend. Namaste. Oh, Terra time, Yogale, inhale, joy. I love it. I love your names. Isa, you've got a great community. Oh, you said you had to go, so I might have missed you, but I'm sure I'll see you soon on your stream. I loved hopping into your streams. We forgot yesterday, so before I forget, tip. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you. I fixed the tip button, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate you. And a $5 tip does get you a recording of class with timestamps to all the meditations, to the movement practice, and to the lymphatic shaking and pranayama, breath of joy practice. You can just skip to your favorite part of class and not worry about having to scroll through. I'm just catching Savasana. So great. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, so I always like teaching a nice long Shavasana at the end of class. I think you guys came in like halfway through or closer to the end actually, because Yoga Nidra is one of my practices, something that I've studied. And so Yoga Nidra, it translates to yoga sleep, yogic sleep, and it's all about basically acknowledging all our levels of self, so all of the koshas, or like the sheaths, all the levels of illusion of who we are, to get to true subconscious and then true self, like capital S self. So I like bringing in the elements of that big practice into the small practice of Shavasana, namely with like the body scan, and sometimes we do some fun sensation type work. So feeling big and small or cold and hot, changing perception and things like that. So Shavasana is definitely, I always love those like sweaters that are like, I'm just here for the Shavasana. Every time I see one, I'm like, I'm gonna buy it, and then it's like $60, and I'm like, was this made in a factory by a child? Like, I can't really like buy this. Is this made of polyester? Like, it's never gonna decompose. I can't buy this. But one day I'm gonna find a shirt or a sweatshirt that's just made of cotton, fair trade, sustainably. I'm gonna buy that. I'm just here for the Shavasana shirt. I'm telling you. How was Issa's class? I bet it was wonderful. And for everyone who was in my class, how was that for you? How's your body feeling? How is it feeling to integrate the balancing postures into the movement, instead of having like a separate balance section? I just feel like it's kind of like a step. We're going from like very compartmentalized classes to more integrated classes. Yoga, oh, pretty nice. I haven't done Yoga Nidra before. I will come back to practice it with you. For sure. You are invited, my friend, every day. Same time, same internet place. I like the integration a lot. Great, awesome. That's how I prefer to practice. However, there's a lot of value in, especially in the beginning when people are just starting, to have like that separate, like, we're just all of January. Am I lying? Is this true? How true is this? If I'm not mistaken, I tried to do this, all of January, just do tree pose. I think it was a couple days that I did other things, but it was just focusing on tree pose as our balancing practice. I just feel like it's just step one when it comes to balance. It's just great. There's so much to learn from it. It's such like a simple pose, but really just the shape is simple. Like if you can cookie cutter make a pose, it seems simple, but what I mean by that is like if you were making cookies, like if you were making gluten-free gingerbread cookies and you wanted a shape of like a person in a yoga pose, like what are you going for? You're going for tree pose, you're going for triangle pose, you're going for warrior two, right? Like those are like, but those poses have so much in them. They're recognizable in their silhouettes, but besides that, there's so many little things in your feet and in your hips, in your spine, that need to happen to make, tree pose happen. That's just such a great little pose. And anyway, but I'm glad that you like the integration a lot, because especially moving into March, today's the 23rd, we got like 9 days of February left, so I might still be flipping back and forth, but as March comes, we're going to go more into integration and have less segmented parts of class and more of a flow. But it also took a little bit for me to kind of get on that, not bandwagon, but on that flow, because it's one thing to be teaching in a classroom, when it's like a beginner's class, there's more back and forth, people asking questions and me answering. That's kind of like here on Twitch or even on Facebook. People will like ask me questions on stream and then I can answer them. There's like a little bit of like a workshop-y type feeling to it, versus like a more like advanced class, you could say, or like a faster paced class. There's like no real talking. it's just the instructor like instructing, and you're like flowing through it. But it takes a while to get there. I mean, I did the first type, like workshop-y, segmented, like this pose. Okay, now this pose. Okay, now balance. Okay, now strength. Okay, now deep stretches. I did that for 5 years. I did that for 5 years before ever even stepping into a room that was integrated and just like flowed through it all, like a vinyasa style class. So we've done like 5 weeks of that. So, you know, tomato, tomato. No, I'm just kidding. There's no right way to do it, guys. That's the whole point. That's why yoga's awesome. But anyway, we've quite a number of people here, don't we? So maybe we should raid a friend. Let's raid a friend. Who's on right now? Okay. Probably Mom is on. Yeah, let's raid. Like, why not? Okay, go away. Do we know? Okay, Mom is on. Sets and reps is on. Should we raid Mom or should we raid sets and reps? You guys have a preference? Oh, I'm not signed on. Wait, I can do it from here. So ridiculous. I like explained this earlier to you guys, but Mom has a cat. You're right. Sets and reps, I love you, but Mom Furious does have a cat, so let's hit him with the raid. /raid Mom Furious Fitness. Mom Furious Fitness. Is it gonna work? It's gonna work. Oh yeah, baby. I'm so biased. I know, but Gatina. Oh, I love her. So, all right. Let's go say hi to Mom. Send him some tiger, some 3-eyed tiger love. I'll see all of you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have you tried heated Bikram? Yes, I have, Kitty Snacks. Practiced Bikram for like 3 years straight. This was before all the scandal. Well, no, the scandal was already there, let's be honest. But but before like it all blew up and whatnot, I actually taught at a Bikram studio, but I wasn't teaching Bikram because I didn't go to his training but I taught hot power yoga. I taught hot power yoga for years. So I actually do like the Bikram series a lot, but I don't like the man at all. So, you know, we do what we can. Is this gonna work, guys? I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know how to, what's it called? How to raid from my phone. No, it's gonna work. It says it's raiding. I think it's counting down now. This is gonna be an awkward goodbye because I can't press the button, but I love you all. Namaste. And maybe, is it gonna go? Is it gonna go?